Go Beaver! Away!
Good evening, gamers, and welcome to Critscast. My name is Snazzy, or the Lampshade22, depending who you ask. With me tonight is Luggnuts, and we have the lovely Core on production, the man, the myth, the legend. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are watching the ozfortress Season 32 Premier Upper Page Playoffs, Soiree versus the X-Files. It should be a really good game. Obviously, it's the Upper Page Playoffs, so this is, you know, one of these teams is sort of guaranteed to be in the grand finals, more or less, at this point.
Now we're into the Upper Page Playoffs. Things have gotten pretty serious. These are the best of the best.
In terms of the bans, we're looking at Soiree banning Metalworks, X-Files banned Clear Cut, Soiree then banned Sunshine, and the last ban was Gullywash.
It looks like the maps that have been picked are Process, Product, and Granary.
Process is a map that, like, these guys have played a million times, so everything's going to work out. Like, they're going to know what they're doing non-stop, like, the whole way through it. And it's just exciting. It's just exciting.
It's just exciting. Couldn't have put it better myself. Interesting to see Granary actually coming in near the end of that. That's the decider map, so, you know, definitely something a little bit less seen, picked, and a little bit less played in pug servers.
I don't know. I think it's probably, the edge is probably going to come down to just how well they play together as a team, which is kind of exactly what you want to see in the upper prem level, where it's not like DM isn't going to carry you all the way. You sort of have to actually, like, have a strategy and, like, play around each other to actually make things work. Who do you think you'd favour?
I think, at least for this map, I would favour Soiree, you know, to give them the edge on this one. So, yeah, I would give them a bit of an edge, but nothing too drastic.
Hold on, let me consult the Oracle. I am supporting X-Files, my friend.
Oh, no, it's back. The hunch is back. I do reckon that it's going to go to the third map, most likely. If Soiree wins this one, I reckon X-Files will probably get through on Product. And it's going to come down to that Granary pitch. But it does look like we are seeing Ready Up now.
Oh boy. Ready's up. I'm excited. I'm truly excited. I love watching this game. I don't know how I still tolerate it. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going live. Like I said, this is the ozfortress Season 32 Premier Upper Page Playoff. Soiree and X-Files. Luggnuts, take it away. But now they're starting.
Well, I just do last bit snazzy. Go for it.
We're taking turns. We see both teams reaching that middle. A nice big bomb out of Silvo, who does die for his efforts. Doesn't really achieve very much, but Riot following in with some massive frags onto the med and the demo nice and early. But the rest of his team there, the rest of their team, sorry, is there to chase, and it's a wipe. So a lot of early aggression, losing the med and the demo there on the terms of, I can't remember which is which, bro. And then the return.
Yeah, okay. I'm reckoning Soiree's on red and X-Files on blue. That makes sense. Yeah, actually not a bad play out of Soiree there. Having only your medic and your scout left is not the worst thing to get out of mid with, especially because you're going to be holding last, but you're going to be holding with that advantage. Unfortunately, Aishao, despite being a MG champion of his time, wasn't quite enough to hold off the entire Soiree moving forward. So, oh, wow! Superdog heard me talk about him playing Spy. Comes out, 2 quick picks on both the medic and the demo man. That's going to change the momentum of this game in a massive way. Going to give a massive amount of space for X-Files to push out and take second. Now this is looking really good for them. Sorry, Soiree to fake out and push second.
They nearly picked up Lau a couple times in like the tail end of that fight after Silvo absolutely destroyed their push. But it wasn't quite enough to really make it happen.
Yeah, no fan on the team means no massive clutch plays like that. Really unfortunate for these guys, but you know, that's how it is.
You hate to see it. You really do hate to see it. But we do see a nice big push, big Uber ad on the side of Soiree here. They're pushing in. They've gotten this second more or less for free. Riot does go very low, but he doesn't die. So now they're going to be pushing with Uber ad, all players up. It's only 50 ad though, so they sort of have to do it soonish.
Does look like they definitely are moving in soon. The gun is the first target to be focused down. Goes down very quickly. Engineer does get out and re-swap over to another class though. A lot of good kiting of the Uber coming out, and the Heavy is out as well. Bit of point time capped. Pretty good defense actually coming out of Soiree here, doing a lot of work, but those soldiers coming in do a lot of cleanup, take a lot of space, and Aisha was able to just sit on the cap and get things over for a nice, clean, quick round for X-Files. Or is that Soiree? Actually, Soiree, yes.
Soiree's
so
the red
Soiree.
I was checking, but it should be worth mentioning. I think Connor ate like a massive rocket and he had to resub, otherwise they might have had Uber to defend that there. But we're coming into the next mid. Looks like Enrith is taking a fairly dominant position. Doge getting a bow. He's moving forward a little. The rest of his team's very close around him. They're sort of penciled into that little corner there. Riot with a nice big bomb just to take attention. Nothing really happening so far. A lot of jumping back and forth. We do see the X-Files taking quite a bit of room now. They're up onto that blue crate area. They're jumping straight on in. Hertz goes down to Cookie, the first frag of the mid. We're seeing frags going left, right, center. And it does look like Soiree's on the upper end here. They're chasing them out of choke there, but Elmo walks straight on through and deleted Lau. They're going to be chasing Connor so hard. They're right onto him in door one there. He's doing his very best to get away. Just him on his own versus Aisho. He only has to get into spawn. He managed it.
Oh, I thought you weren't allowed to resub with Uber, but I mean...
Yeah, I didn't think you were either. I wasn't going to mention it.
Yeah, well, I mean, not too much of a difference maybe. Aisho might feel differently. That's what I was talking about first mid, where that's sort of what Soiree was attempting to do, and didn't quite manage to get out fast enough. Now you see X-Files pulling it off perfectly. Scout and the medic pull out. Scout didn't quite survive, but the medic certainly did, which gives them that Uber advantage. Even though they lost that second, they're now able to push out and take quite a bit of space, probably get this mid off this as well.
Yeah, there is Silvo on Sniper though, ready to sort of muck him up, but I think they've seen him. They've used straight on through the IT area, jumping their demo in. They've only achieved one frag onto Riot. Enrith down very, very low. Elmo cleaning him up in that PC IT area. Aisho in there as well. He gets the frag onto Hertz, but he does die. So yeah, I mean, it's an okay Uber. It's gotten them the midpoint, but they haven't really leapfrogged the ads.
Exactly, and that's going to be probably a push through from Soiree now, because they do have their own pretty significant Uber advantage, 50% for taking mid, not really the hardest thing to do. Going to see if it does keep leapfrogging on this mid, or if they get a bit more of a successful push out of this. They still have Silver on the Sniper, which makes it a bit harder to push, but I mean, quick pull out from X-Files anyway. It doesn't look like they're actually going to force. No, they do! Elmo in behind.
Yeah, Elmo managed to get all the way around that blue crate directly onto Lau when no one was looking. Lau had to sort of pop on, I think he was on single-digit health, man. It was dangerous.
Getting close, doesn't want to do a lock moment there, so Silvo really in deep here. Actually, I don't know if that's forcing the Uber or if that's just the convenient timing out of X-Files for using their Uber. Doesn't actually manage to get too much with it though. They are still shoved back in their choke. They want to keep taking this fight on mid, but I don't know if they'll actually be able to take much space here, if they're going to have to pull out. Does look like they are pulling out choke. They're just going to have to hold second here, which puts a very good situation for Soiree, as they have their Uber advantage and they've retained mid.
Yeah, that was like a really good hold, because they were even holding with a bit of player disad there. But they just like bullied them straight on out, and now they're returning with roughly 50% ad, 40-ish. And I think that's going to collect them second pretty much for free. If they push quickly, they might be able to use it.
Bit of a risky play to try to push last with this one, especially with how good these teams are at kiting those last pushes. Last time they pushed on with 50 and the X-Files almost got Uber. This time they're pushing in, not that much advantage, and Connor certainly does have Uber to return with. Lots of frags coming out, actually not many frags coming out on both sides, 3 down. X-Files are in the lead on this one though, have successfully held that last point. Even Ubers though, so not the worst position for Soiree. They didn't really flub that too hard.
Yeah, and it's really difficult to push out into second here. That should keep them back just a little bit. I think we'll be seeing a bit of a reset. Doge doing the best he can. That is Doge, yeah?
It is Doge.
Yes, Doge doing the best he can to make things happen there, but it wasn't quite enough. So it is just going to be a bit of a reset.
And just going to be the standard bit of poking and prodding. Silverdox has shown that he's happy sort of going on that off class, getting a little bit of damage done. Maybe I'd expect to see a sack from him now, seeing what happened. Riot, however, is the other player I'd expect to see sacking here, just because, you know, the soldier sack's always a staple of the game. Not really much that can be done on the side of X-Files here. They've got the sentry gun up, they just have to sort of try to defend this. They're a round down though, so any extra time is kind of helping Soiree here.
Yeah, I mean, the time is, like, it's not too dangerous for them. We do see a nice big bomb out of Riot. He got one rocket onto Connor, but not enough to make anything happen. Is there a counter sack? Looked like one of the soldiers was aiming for it, but he didn't quite commit all the way. Oh, Silvo's in as well. My lord. Okay, he backs out a second. Good lord.
Thought he had something, not quite. Doesn't die though, so still worth it for his team. Wright's coming out on Sniper actually, so he decided that he wanted to do the off-classing. And we'll see how well he can match up to Silverdox's attempt earlier.
I mean, Wright on Sniper, he tends to click on heads. He tends to. I mean, all these guys tend to.
For sure.
Really?
I guess that's your main concern of the Sniper on your team is, can they click on head?
That's the main thing. That's honestly like the one goal. They're giving them quite a bit of room into this lobby area, which means Riot's been able to get in, get a pretty good angle. Doge taking a very aggressive peek. They surely know about the Sniper now. They'll probably respect those chokes a little bit more.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, Riot! He can peek all the way in door 5, bro. Didn't quite hit anything. That was dangerous, though.
No clicking on heads, unluckily for him there. Very luckily for X-Files, allows them to keep this up. And now they've got a soldier in front of there, hopefully to stuff it a little bit. But I mean, Cookie's still rolling around here with the Force of Nature. That's not only a pretty good defensive tool for, sending people away from your sniper, but also might be good for sort of displacing anyone who's stopping them from peeking as well. Almost actually, soldier there, down, almost gets the Riot there through some spam. Doesn't quite manage to pick him up, so going to be a little bit of a consolidation from Soiree here. And again, just nothing much happening, so your standard sort of last hold stalemate.
Yeah, I mean, we're used to seeing this, and especially at this sort of level where it's like they're poking for the ad because they're not going to just push for no reason. It's just the classic. We're just going to be sitting here doing this for hours on end.
Yeah, off class and the consequence have been a disaster for the TF2 community, something like that, I'm sure.
Oh, dude, thank God above for the 30-minute time limit, I tell you. But Silvo and Riot cleaning up one of the soldiers on the right-hand side there in that door fight. That gives them a bit of room to peek here, but they still got Riot on Sniper, so it's not going to trigger the push, although I thought he was going for the hero shot. He gave up at the last moment. Aisho going down, returning that player ad to the other side, and they clean up Riot. Enrith taking out TJ to sort of slow down the push a little, but they got to be really careful on second here now.
I'm getting attacked by a moth right now, sitting on top of my mic or something. But they actually almost got down the sentry gun there, which was giving them a little bit of a chance to play maybe behind, get a few, goblin plays going. But pretty good done by Soiree to keep holding the second despite two players going down. Riot back onto the soldier, so just abandoning that sort of slow play sniper game. Cookie going down 4 down there, so just a trade, nothing too much unless one of them is planning on coming off an off class. Riot going down as well. Maybe a sack, maybe a double sack kind of mentality here. It's an opportunity now for a kind of push out. With Elmo and the engineer building that sentry gun, they don't really have that pushing power to take advantage of this 2-player pick.
Yeah, they need a bigger pick than that, and I think Cookie checked for off classes, but didn't really see anything in particular. TJ looks like he's checking for off classes as we speak, and then he goes back to scout. I was sort of hoping for like a really wild off class, but all we're seeing is down up on Sniper. Another person who tends to click heads.
Is there anyone in this server who doesn't click heads? Like, true question. I mean, even the demo men on these teams, like, honestly, I know Doge is one of the better snipers in Highlanders, so...
Oh, dude, the meds, too. Like, they're all pretty good. We do see a bit of a double sack there. Riot stuck up in that bunker area right now. He's very, very low. Yeah, he goes down.
Good stagger, though. It gives enough time for Silver to kind of spawn and help this hold. This sentry gun is doing pretty well at stuffing these sacks, but isn't really allowing them to take advantage of these players that they're picking up on the defensive side. And even though at the start time wasn't really an issue, and even now there's 18.5 minutes left, when you're round down you don't really just want to sit in a situation where you don't really have a hope of getting out of here. And right now Soiree definitely has the ability to try almost anything they want and get nothing, not punished for it. Surely enough, they use that to get Riot in, get him on the medic, who has force now. Silvo actually I think was in there. And that's now a big opportunity for Soiree.
Yeah, Soiree have given themselves an opportunity here that they definitely don't want to be missing here, man. It's really clean, that 80% ad. We do see a really solid hold. They've still got that engineer. They'll probably spin a heavy up, I would imagine. Yeah, Elmo coming up on heavy. Riot's there to meet him up that top area, but he's a bit busy up top. The Uber has come out. They've lost 2 players, 3 players, though, 4 players. It's just Enrith and Lau. It's a really good defense from the side of X-Files, man.
I saw Silverox trying there. He tried to go for the market garden on the medic. Didn't quite get past the heavy bodyguard though. At the very least for Soiree, they did manage to get Lau out with Enrith, so they're not going to be too much on the disadvantage, but definitely is going to be not only advantage but momentum for X-Files now, and finally a chance for them to sort of get back in this game, get things moving again.
Yeah, it's definitely going to give them the opportunity they need here. They've got that 30% ad. They're pushing into that middle area. There's a sniper, Silvo, which they need to be a little bit fearful of. I think Connor taking a little bit of damage already. He's hiding behind that rock. Riot goes down very, very low. They do lose one of their soldiers, which is a bit dangerous. Elmo likely to go down very soon as well. A fat snipe out of Silvo. There's the head clicking we've been talking about. Both of the Ubers come out. It's a weird trade. I don't know how this ends, but I can tell you it does result in X-Files leaving and losing their med in the midst of it. So now they're throwing themselves deep in, trying to get anything they can. Silvo showing up to the game.
Yeah, I mean, there just wasn't enough space taken early enough from X-Files to really lock that sniper out too much. And I mean, when you have that advantage, you kind of just have to just swing for it, see what you can get, but didn't really work out too well for X-Files. Kind of didn't manage to sort of deny that head shooting potential, and Silvo really made them regret it, as they're now shoved right back onto last with an Uber disadvantage, almost 50%.
Yeah, it's not what I think they wanted to see. Silvo being up on Sniper is a little bit of a gimp, I guess, as they try to like push in here, but I don't think it's going to affect them too much. It gives them a bit of room to maneuver as well, especially with the ad they have. They can afford to play a little bit slow, not a lot. I lied, they're going straight on in before the sentry comes up. They're in very, very deep. No frags yet. Riot taking out down. It was a trade. Silvo cleaning up the med again. There's frags left, right, and center. It's just the demo and a scout to defend. TJ not taking really any damage until just now, though. He finally goes down. Demo goes down, and the point is capped. That is 2-0.
Not an awful defense out of there from X-Files on that last, but yeah, just not quite enough to really get them anything too much. They weren't able to kite as effective as they were the last times they were defending that last, and that just meant too many players died just too fast for them to pull that off successfully. Gonna be another round though, 50 minutes left, 2-0 for Soiree, is looking pretty promising for them.
It's definitely pretty promising. I mean, this game has been pretty slow so far. We see both teams getting to the mid here. Nothing really of consequence happening just yet. Just a bit of posturing, looking for that opportunity. We do see down in for a nice big jump over, taking a bit of attention. Hertz following up with one of his own. Silver went down very, very low there, but he doesn't quite die. He gets that bow. Cookie cleaning up the first player of the mid. Hertz going down. Down goes all the way in, gets a lot of damage on the Lau, but it's not really enough to make anything happen. He does go down for his efforts, and I think, yeah, Soiree's won the mid, but it's even players, so pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, X-Files isn't going to be too unhappy with this. They're not shoved back to last, you know, they're not sitting here with uber disadvantage. They keep the medic alive, but this again put in a defensive position, which at this stage is not something you really want to see. I mean, not just in the position where you have sort of time ticking down, your rounds down, you need to start getting things going, but also sort of mentally, those are the moments, the mid-fights especially, where you're trying to sort of swing momentum back in your favour and turn over a new leaf in the match, if you will, which hasn't really worked out too well for them. So right now they're going to have to get something pretty creative done, unless they just get picked out again by Soiree. Huge bomb from Riot in on the medic, gets the force. That couldn't be more disastrous for them unless it was a trough.
Yeah, that really could not have been worse for them there.
That's actually going to be a pretty good situation for Soiree now. 90% Uber basically, 80% in the bit. Elmo actually getting a frag onto Aisho though, so they don't really have the players to make this, and they're getting bled in on, and that actually gets the force. Lau going down so low there, having to pop. That's a really good situation for X-Files now, as you know, they're building up their Uber advantage, and they still have a little bit of momentum, a player behind, which they can use to maybe get this thing going a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking pretty good for them. They lose that player behind, but they are... Yeah, no, they're just leaving after that. I think they don't want to do anything risky here because, you know, if they lose a decent fight, that's probably another round. So they're playing it a little bit slow. Silvo down really low in that flank area, but no one really there to capitalize. Cookie comes in, so does Riot. Silvo jumping in as well, nice and deep. Gets onto him. Oh, no. This is not good. Connor with that Uber there. They're desperate to get some frags. They use that Uber in. They've cleaned up 1, 2, 3 now. They only have to get onto Lau. He's running really, really far, though. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. So it's a decent Uber, but that ad is going to be terrifying for him.
Exactly. And I mean, it's one of those cases where they kind of pulled back there. They knew they had ad, they could have just played it, but they just weren't prepared enough for that aggressive soiree play. And soiree is just happy playing this pretty damn aggressively, keeping momentum in their favour, stopping things from turning around too far. I mean, Silvernox is already in. I mean, they've got Uber advantage. Oh, and no, so X-Files now has Uber advantage, actually. So,
have they?
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's, I don't know how that works. Maybe Sword?
I don't know. I'm not sure. But I do love to see it. It keeps the spice of life alive. Connor and his team walking in here. Connor down very low. He does die to Riot in the end there, which is probably going to spell the end of this this push for them. But they are getting in nice and deep, trying to clean up Lau. He's down on half health. They clean up Enrith. They got 2 players coming through that sewer area. They're in nice and deep. I think they could make it happen.
They haven't kept mid though, so they sort of can't commit too deep here. There's respawners coming out, you know, from the second spawn. So yeah, anything further would just be overextending, but this does give the opportunity now for Soiree to block this cap, recontest second. They have their big Uber advantage now, and X-Files just can't hold this or contest this. So, I mean, hell, if they don't play this well, they could either be losing this round or at the very least being forced back to hold last.
Oh yeah, they're in dire straits, my friend.
Yeah, we're seeing Soiree already rolling into this one with that big advantage, down behind, distract them a little bit, you know, stopping that push. That's just by the time X-Files really needs to build up the super.
Yeah, I mean, and this sort of time it's exactly what they need here, because if they get a decent fight off where they kill the med, then they could be in the good book, but they have thrown a few players at Lau, haven't quite gotten the force. He holds that under 50 health, which is crazy. He's got balls of steel. Elmo's in nice and deep. He's going to go down as well. So it's like a 2-man sack to try and get that Uber to get popped. It's kind of even players though. The push does come out. Silvo in really deep. The fattest rocket of all time onto Connor. Not quite enough to force him either. And now they're looking like they want to push in. And with 10 minutes left on the clock, I can understand their want for that. But there just isn't enough for them to really like push in easily.
Yeah, picking up these aggressive plays has worked out well for them. They've turned a 90% Uber disadvantage, players down, holding their second, into a even Ubers, even players still holding their second. So not an awful situation, but this is the exact same situation they were at the start of this round after losing the mid, something like 5 minutes ago. So not really the best way to get 2 rounds on the board. Definitely better than losing another one though. So and with those double soldier sacks.
A good way to start this fight is cleaning up both of the soldiers. Riot and Silvo both going down. Enrith down very low. He gets a bow. Cookie's down really low. He dies as well. Aisho goes down. It's only Lau and Enrith. They're so deep. They get the drop onto Lau. So much damage so quick. There was just nothing he could do short of right clicking. And they're pushing straight on through the mid. This is fantastic for X-Files, bro.
Right on Sniper, trying desperately to sort of hold the Soul Pistoling down, SMGing on Hertz. He gets out though, and yeah, this is 90% Uber advantage, pushing into last for X-Files. They've already kept second, or almost have at least. So then, this is exactly the situation they wanted.
Not enough time for the gun to come all the way up. It is on level 2, and they are running a heavy though. They're peeking in, they're taking their time with using here. They really need to pop. Riot in behind, he goes down. They've cleaned up Riot. The gun is getting spammed. It's not quite down yet. They have bullied the heavy out. It's a bit of a fight. It's a lot going on. They've cleaned up Silvo, so that gives them 1 player out. They've cleaned up Aisho, and they collect the point. That is that. 8 minutes left on the clock, 2-1.
That's exactly what they need, How. Now this mid is really where they start getting things going. But hey, even if they take another, 5-7 minutes to put another round on the board like they did last round, after losing the mid, they've still got this at least tied up and ready for the golden cap. So this mid is pretty important for them though, because they're going to have to sort of pick things up a little bit.
Yeah, we see another slow start to the mid. Both teams just staring at each other across that point, just really mean mugging each other. Hertz with a bit of an attention grab, but Riot following with his own. Hertz down very low. Riot goes in to try and make something happen there. Not quite enough. down actually out of the fight, going for a pack. So is Elmo. That puts them in a dire position. Connor collecting his scout at the choke there. They've now lost so much property. They've lost a few players. It's not looking good for the X-Files. They do... Pardon me. They do have to back out of the point there. Right in with a nice big bomb. He goes down. Silvo following up with his own. He also goes down. That could give them the room that they need to push back in here. I may never get a chance to get a breath. They push straight on back through the choke. Cookie in nice and deep onto Connor. He does get the force, which is extremely unfortunate for X-Files. They are here collecting this mid, but they're going to have to be so fearful of the Uber, which is now looking like it's going to come straight back into them, straight through that PCIT area. Nice and deep. Nothing really happening so far. Aisho actually going down in the midst of that Uber. A little bit overextended maybe into that the team there to meet him. And now they're coming back in. Another great big fight. A trade hurts for Riot. It's looking a bit odd. They clean up another player. Silvo going down. Elmo dying mid-air there. Just skybox. And I think that's the end of the mid-fight, finally. And it looks like X-Files has collected it.
A minute and a half of solid action has led the way of X-Files there at the very least. Poor Snazzy's voice box, going to give it a little bit of time to recover there. Decide not to take things through to the second point, just decide to sit there and build. They do have actually a bit of Uber advantage here, which maybe they know about, and that's why they decide to abort their push. Looks like they really do. They're looking to get this very aggressively in. Dem man bombs in, doesn't quite manage to pick up the medic though. Does get 2 frags though in Silver and Aisho, which is going to secure the second for them, as long as they can hold off this eventual Uber-ad push from Soiree.
Yeah, they need to be really fearful of this Uber. But, as we discussed earlier, pushing out of last here is a bit difficult into that second area because you're pushing onto high ground. They also get the force on the players while they're in last, which is so good for X-Files. They're sort of playing this by the book. They are down on that low ground though, and they need to be very fearful. A lot of damage on a Cookie, but they are going to lose Elmo. Now with no scouts to defend, I think they're going to have to back out quite a bit. They do get... do they get 2 players out of the forwards? No, just the 1 out of the forwards, which might give them what they need to really protect this middle, though. The Soiree team is so deep, though. They're very aggressive into this Uber ad that they're facing, but they don't quite have Uber yet, so X-Files has to back out of mid.
Yeah, unfortunate for X-Files there. They've now had to drop 2 points really quickly to Soiree. Not the worst thing that could have happened for them. They did clear that Uber out, and they're primed to repush. Another aggressive repush in, doesn't really get too much. Gets Riot there at the very least, but I mean, the Uber has come out for taking that mid, so it's going to look like a leapfrog unless some really aggressive play can come out by one of these teams.
I can't tell you how much Riot ruined that Uber for them. He was just waiting for them in IT. The Uber comes out on the side of Soiree. They clean up 2 players with it already. Hertz and Elmo on the back end there. It's a bit of a weird fight. They're both fighting each other. They're fighting with 2-player disad. It's so dangerous. They lose their demo man as well. They lose their scout as well. It's only down in his medic. Oy. Oy.
Yeah, definitely not the best thing that could have come out for X-Files, especially because they're facing down yet another last hold with less than 5 minutes on the clock, and they need to get around to at least tie things up. Definitely a very close match so far, though. I mean, a lot better than the last time they played Soiree on a 5CP map. So, I mean, these guys have just been showing non-stop improvement. 2 players going down to the trap, though.
And Connor goes very low as well. He has to back out. He does have that Uber, but they were, I think, hoping to use that ad to sort of make things happen. Double soldier sack onto Connor. They get the 4th. They both go down for it, right, and Silvo. But I think they'll just wait out the spawns and then push in. They have all the time in the world, or 3 minutes and 50 seconds, to push this last.
And X-Files really has to make something happen in that time. Definitely the onus is on them, and they're looking like they're taking that to heart because they're putting a lot of players out of last to contest the second already, taking advantage of that 2-player disadvantage from that double sack. Big bomb coming in from Riot, does go down, trades with Elmo though, and that might actually force X-Files back for a moment.
Yeah, it's gonna bully X-Files back, but, you know, they only have to get, like, 1 more frag here, which they do end up collecting. They now have a, 1 to 2 player ad with Uber ad. They can push straight into last, which they do, coming straight on through door 1. No one's there to meet them. They're doing their very best to build over that door 5 area, but the players are all over them. Connor ending up going down to Cookie. Elmo doing everything he can. He's cleaning up players. He lol suspends Riot. He lol suspends Enrith, who is so low but hasn't quite died. And it's a wipe on the push. 2 minutes 50. Luggnuts. Are we seeing it?
This is happening. This is the go time for them. I mean, they need to get super aggressive out of here. They're looking to deny a little bit of spawns. There's a couple of forwards out, just the medic and the scout so far.
Oh no.
The entire team comes out of forward just before they get the point. I mean, that's the most crushing thing to happen to the Dream. Like, you can even see.
Oh no. They could have had that. This is going to make it much more difficult for them. They do have a little bit of ad. If they can push this mid and get Lau in the midst of the push, I think the Dream is still alive. 2 minutes is more than enough time for a competent team to cap this last to last. Down goes in and he goes down.
Down goes down, as the famous call goes. And again, makes the Dream just that little bit harder to achieve. But again, it's close to even Ubers. It's just a little smidgen of ad on the side of X-Files, which can't be used there. Waiting for down to respawn. The Dream is still possible if they execute this push perfectly. And hell, if there's any team that can do it with the players on X-Files, that's possible. But Doge going down to those players, Elmo as well. That's not the perfect situation for them.
It's 2 for 2, but Doge going down is really quite awful. He has got a really good spawn compared to the soiree players though, which puts him in a pretty good spot. Down is behind as well, which doesn't necessarily put them in a really good spot. It's a lot of scrappy fighting. This is wild.
Does survive there. Elmo expressing his frustrations just a little bit in the chat. Yeah, this is looking rough. Uber's come out on both sides though, however. Down going down immediately in there.
It's a bit dangerous for X-Files here. They do end up cleaning up Silvo in the middle of that Uber. That's not so bad for them. Enrith down really low. They lose their scout as well. Enrith does go down. They lose their demo. Yeah, that's probably that. 50 seconds left on the clock. I think the Dream may have ended.
Yeah, I mean, that's just Cookie picking up 4 in that fight. Not the most ideal of circumstances. 40 seconds left. Not even your meta cup on the side of the defense right now. X-Files really going to have to hold on hard for this one. And even then, it's just trying to stop another round getting on the board. I think 29 seconds isn't quite enough to go coast to coast for this one. They do manage to get their players in time enough to at least try to stop that 3-1 push from Soiree though.
I gotta tell you, I personally never fight harder than when I'm trying to prevent like the vanity round. So I think they'll be fighting very difficult here, very hard here. Sorry. And the Uber comes straight through door 1. It cleans up the medic. It cleans up another player. It cleans up another player. The round ends, and they did prevent the vanity round. Very well done from both teams. But oh boy, Soiree really capitalizing on the little advantages they create for themselves. Hey.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And just not giving a single moment for X-Files to really just take a breath there. I mean, it's just non-stop having to defend from one player, another player, flying through the air, coming in behind, just putting so much pressure on your back line. It's just really hard to sort of organise an actual decent push and all of that.
Enrith coming through with 10,000 damage, pretty much even. That's 336 deeps for those of you counting at home. That's a big number, especially in relation to the rest of the server. I mean, Doge coming through with 8,300 himself. It's 279. It's not like a massive difference, but it's just, I think that might be part of what makes it happen, you know?
Definitely, I mean, after something like that, you got to think that the players who are to the time pressure, who do have the rounds down, they got to really start considering how they play strategically more than just sort of tactically in the moment. They can't just think, oh, I've just got to do what I can to win this fight here. They have to think, I've got to win this round, and that requires, more aggression here or something over here. It just makes them play differently.
But we're coming into the second map. If one team takes the first, the next will take the second. Viaduct here, obviously a totally different map, totally different way of playing it. Do you think it's going to be, the 1-to-1 maps here?
Oh yeah, I think this is going to be X-Files one for sure. I mean, the last one was really, really close, ended 2-1, and just in favor of Soiree. The last time these two teams played on this map, it was also very, very close, but in the favor of Soiree again. But I mean, this time, I feel like X-Files picked up their game quite a bit, giving us a much better match so far, so I'm expecting them to take the edge here.
But, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming into the second map. It is Viaduct. We're going to have to see if X-Files can return this one to the record books I don't know. We're going to have to see if they can take it and take us to a
Yeah, I
third
know where
map.
I was going.
Yeah, I was running out of things to say. But the game has started. We see both Demo Men doing their usual thing. Stickies across at each other. Riot's up on a pretty domineering position up on that rock up there. We do see quite a bit of movement out of X-Files there trying to get in. Silvo bombs in for Connor. Doesn't actually quite achieve it. He gets quite a bit of damage off though. Riot following up that frag onto Hertz to keep the players even. And then Aisho takes out Elmo. No trade here to speak of. We did see down onto Lau. He's down on 20 health, but not quite enough to make it happen. The rest of his team backs on out. And that's going to be the first cap of the map going to Soiree.
Not the best start for X-Files, but I mean, it's product. There's ways to turn this around. There hasn't been a forward hold established by Soiree, which gives a pretty good advantage for X-Files, an opportunity for X-Files to sort of get their players forward, maybe do a sack. They do have even Ubers, so, I mean, maybe it's just walk forward pressure and use when you can. And... Oh, no!
Oh, look, you say that, man, but that kind of requires not having your med just get pumped, man. Enrith with a massive pipe to drop Connor there, and that's going to be the end of that push. They did get the force out of Lau in the midst of all that fighting there, but oh boy.
Yeah, that's... Oh man, if there's one thing that'll demoralize your team, it's starting out a game like that, for sure. They're gonna have to try to fix this pretty handily. The Uber did come out from Soiree at the very least, so you know they're not facing too much of an uphill battle. Still a bit of Uber advantage though. Looks like they are getting their players forward. Again, just a bit of pressure, no sort of large four-man sacks that are characteristic on this map. Getting down sort of in the behind area. Again, just kind of poking and prodding, but does look like X-Files actually managed to take quite a bit of space on point.
Yeah, I mean, they took quite a bit of space, but then they lost 2 players. Yeah, they cleaned up Riot, so it's only 1 player ad. Ooh, 2 player ad now because Hertz goes down. He does trade for Silvo in the end, so that makes it a little bit better. It's just back to even players. But with that Uber dis ad as well, like, I don't think they... You gotta have some serious cojones to be fighting that one there, I think.
Well, one of the good things with product is that when one team has the point, they actually respawn slower. So, of course, any trades that come out are in the favor of the team that doesn't have the point, which is what they use to sort of get forward with Silvo down and exchange the Ubers. Hasn't gone too well for them, though. They are being forced back quite a bit. Hertz and Doge going down for Silvo. Connor dying as well, though. That's going to be disastrous for them because now they're just going to have another big Uber disadvantage.
Look, you described that as being pushed back. I described that as being put in the meat grinder and turned into a sausage. They lost a lot of their players there. They did get 3 players forward that cleaned up Enrith, which could give them a little bit of an advantage here when they get their demo back up. They're looking at that, looking down the barrel of, what is that? 30 disad. They throw themselves onto Lau. They clean him up in the end. Is it a 4-man? No, they took their med forward as well. They're in dire straits here. If their med gets caught at cliff there, no, he doesn't quite. They do lose their demo man though, but that's okay. They now have, you know, a really solid 50 to 60 Uber advantage, and they're still running time on the point. But with 40 seconds left on the clock for Soiree here, boy, you got to be feeling the pressure a little bit, eh?
Oh yeah, I mean, they've got to do something quick. They have proved that they've got the cojones to really get this going, so now that they have an Uber advantage to see how they can do it. Right, going in behind, getting onto Connor, they're going to have to get him off really quickly, and they do manage to do that. They do lose Elmo and Hertz, so that's going to make this push a lot harder for them.
They can probably afford to wait for the spawns because, like you mentioned earlier, I mean, they get those faster spawns. They actually use straight on in. They've cleaned up Enrith. They've cleaned up Lau. It's a really good Uber. They only have to clean up Silvo behind them here, and they're in really good position to be capping this one. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. It's only overtime left on the point now for Soiree, though. So they are in a, frankly, untenable position with 2 minutes 30 left on the clock. They wait for the spawns first before they cap as well. I suppose nothing to lose when it's overtime already.
Exactly, not exactly any more time to come off the clock, and they're now entering that sort of marathon period. They do have their Uber advantage though, so really they're going to have to look to keep off pressure, hold off the sacks. They don't quite have the Uber yet, so now is sort of your golden opportunity for Soiree to get forward and do something stupidly aggressive, which it looks like Silverdock's in the position to do. He flubs the jump though, getting shut down by TJ. Right, got it though! Oh man, in as well! Oh my god, that's cleaning up. That's doing a lot of damage. Does pick up the medic, losing 4 players for it, but that's so worth it for Soiree.
Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty much a textbook four-man. It could only be better if they'd killed anyone other than Med, but the Med's the goal, so it's a good four-man. It's fantastic for soiree here.
Yeah, that's now going to be a really uphill battle for X.
How do you defend this, man?
Let's see if they manage to.
Like, I have no idea how I would even begin to defend this position. They're doing their absolute best. Fragging players. They're getting a few players down, actually. It's only Cookie really fighting close. Elmo in behind, getting nice damage onto Lau. Nothing really to speak of, though. They do lose Riot on the side of Soiree. Aisho really far forward. Cookie coming forward with his med as well. Cookie takes a fat rocket. He does end up getting it back to safety. It's only Doge and Connor. There's some other players coming in from the spawns here. TJ here to fight. That scout's going to be the main thing, and the point is capped. They just weren't able to. They were looking at like 1,000 things at once, man. It's cool.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was the no-win situation. They did a really good job to hold on for it as long as they did, but you know, in the end, it's pretty inevitable. Soiree managed to eke it over and get the first round.
Absolutely. And what a round it was, man. I mean, it was very dominant, but at the same time, like, a lot going on. Coming into this one, though, we see the usual, like I discussed last time. Just monkeying around, looking at each other. Aisho going down nice and early with a bomb from down, though, and Silvo going down very, very low as well. Riot bombed in. He got cleaned up by TJ. They clean up down on the side of Soiree, but there's nothing they can really do with that. Cookie getting forward. He goes down as well. That's 3 players down, and they're going to have to back out. And, ladies and gentlemen, X-Files have done it.
Finally. I mean, you got your pretty standard sort of product mid-game play where you got your demo men sort of trading spam, supported by scouts, while your soldiers wait for the right opportunity to mess things up. That time, the X-Files soldiers are the ones who did it really well. I think Down was it going in behind on grass, really sort of swing things forward for his team. Uber coming up from Soiree here, Connor going down to the 2-shot from the force of nature. Oh no.
Dude. It's just such a good weapon, man.
It's disgusting.
Oh no.
Happened to the good old civilized days of TF2 where you used the scatter gun.
Oh dear. They did get the force out of... No, they didn't even force Lau. Lau used the Uber in. It's a very small consideration that they're only facing 10 disad now. But, oh jeez.
I mean, one of the things with you know, Koth maps is that you're gonna have to basically wait out the time until you get your Uber. You can try your sacks in the way, but nothing's guaranteed to work. So only 10% means a little bit less time before you can just pull the trigger and go for the trade. Not a bad sack coming through from X-Files though. Picks up a couple of players, which like we said, because of the spawn waves, is actually going to be really beneficial for them. That's going to give them a 2-player advantage, and they're quickly building up on Uber. One of them was the demo man as well, so that's actually giving them a lot of space to get forward here and maybe make a play.
3 more seconds before Cookie even spawns actually gives them the opportunity they need. They're definitely trying to take it. They're mincing themselves forward, just moving that meat grinder a little bit closer, a little bit closer. They're in nice and deep. They do use the Uber. It's a nice big trade. They lose down in the midst of the Uber, which is not very good for them. Their demo man Doge is also really low, so they're actually having to back out here. They didn't get any time really on the point. Nothing to speak of at least. Riot goes in for a sack. He goes down. Elmo doing a bit of damage to back them out as well. Hurts up on that cliff area, getting quite a bit of damage. And this fight looks to be pretty prolonged. We're in a bit of a dry spell right here. But Down going in, causing a bit of a ruckus. Cookie coming back with that force of nature, man. It's so unreal. He ends up dying for his efforts. Enrith goes down as well. So does Aisha. That's going to be the end of that fight. That was like really well played out of X-Files, actually.
That was a really long, really scrappy fight. I mean, at first I thought things were going to be disastrous because they just didn't get Uber in time enough to capitalize off those 2 missing players. But then, eventually when they did, it took a while, but they pulled back pretty successfully and were able to sort of bait the players forward, do what they need to do, and get those players down for an advantage. And sure enough, that's led to them taking the point. Even Uber's, however, so that's the opportunity. Lau going down to the Doge stickies. Oh, that's a really good opportunity for X-Files now. They just have to hold off the wave of zombies.
Oh no, Connor. Oh, he does end up forcing. That's okay. Silver's still behind. I don't know if they know he's... Is he gonna pickaxe? Oh no. They're forward holding and they don't know he's there. Silver. Okay, he does go down.
Thank God.
Jesus. Yeah, this is cool.
Elmo getting deleted there by his force of nature.
Yeah, the force of nature. I just don't.
Disgusting.
It is the new meta. Like, it's not even a joke. Like, people have been doing this for a few seasons now, and it's consistently proven to be really good. Both soldiers going in, cleaning up Lau, though, that's really good. If they can keep Connor alive here, which is looking dubious, to say the very least.
No, dubious isn't here.
No. Connor staying alive. Connor. Yeah. You're a funny man. You're a very funny man.
Oh, thank you. I try.
But they do keep him alive. They're running that timer down. It's now, 35 seconds to a minute 30?
Yeah, this is the sort of swing around that X-Files need. They've been really good at picking up Lau in these fights here. Like, finally, Connor's the one surviving and Lau's the one dying, and that's a very big Uber ad. They decide to use it. I don't think that was a force. Connor's on full HP. They decide to sort of get that aggressively, try to whittle away all the time that they could, not really give any opportunity for Soiree to get an advantage here. And they are 2 down, but Doge is down as well.
I mean, I hesitate to criticize players significantly better than me, but they use really far back. They have cleaned up Lau in the post-Uber, though. Post-Ubers are where the game is won when you think about it, and they've cleaned up quite a few players. It's overtime for them now. Riot, the only one really able to fight, he ends up going down, he does trade for Hurts. Just nukes him. But that's 1-1.
Yeah, that's 1-1, and that's finally sort of X-Files getting sort of back on the driving seat here, doing really what we expected from them at the start of this map. They've really looked like they've gotten their groove here, so I'm expecting more stuff kind of like that. They're now showing their ability to get behind, make the chaos plays, pick up Lau when they need to, and so going into this mid, I'm expecting something pretty good from them.
Yeah, playing really, really safe, though. They're playing under that cliffside. I think they're waiting for the bomb. Silvo coming in, there's the bomb they were expecting. Hurts does go down, but Silvo does as well. It's even players. It's about time for someone to do something. Elmo goes in and he dies, but it looks like it's just going to be a pretty clean cap from Soiree. I don't know.
Yep. Looks like it. Still medical live. Actually, really aggressive Uber coming out from X-Files there. Lau using a little bit later, going to have a much better Uber. TJ going down, who's the main scout fragging power. And you don't want your pocket scout going down at the start of an engagement on product of all maps. Pretty scrappy though. Connor going down, Lau staying alive, which is a good situation for Soiree. They're going to have to pull back though. Silvo's on sniper, and bit of space for X-Files, but nothing they can really capitalize on.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think TJ dying in the middle of that Uber just got a bit disconnected from his medic on the point there. Really made that really quite bad for Xbox. But they're coming back in. They're actually throwing themselves really aggressively at Lau. They clean him up nice and early, which is going to give them the edge on this fight. Is this a 4-man or is their med out? Their med's out. So with that heal advantage, all they have to do is keep him alive, clean up a couple players, and Bob's your uncle, mate.
Yep, does look like he's hanging around Cliff though. I'd be worried, especially given that Silvo is still alive. He's on the sniper as well. TJ spots him. Gonna try to hunt him down. Oh God! Oh, nothing worse could have happened there.
It's a crack shot too. Did you see it?
I saw it. I was watching.
Dude, he like God. In between the wood of house there, bro. Oh.
No.
Jeez Louise.
That's a demoralizer.
Oh yeah, you remember that one, I tell you.
Yeah. You're watching a frag movie.
But it is still roughly even Ubers. There's quite a few frags going out. The frags are going more the way of Soiree, including the med there going down on the side of X-Files, which is going to put him in a pretty grim position. Lau does only have 50% though, and I can't imagine anything other than a 4-man here, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was kind of your depression back to sort of contesting mid because you didn't really have a plan because your current plan got demolished.
Oh, Lau's so low.
Shot.
He's so low.
Oh my God, he gets out of that though, picks up the pack. Connor, isn't actually building during this either.
Down gets right on him and just deletes him. After all that fighting, Lau already took the pack. Down just lands right on his head, man.
Well, that's disastrous and a good return. Unfortunately, Connor wasn't really spending that much time building, so they don't have the biggest ad here.
Yeah, I mean, it's still 10-15%, and I'm sure Soiree probably thinks it's like a little bit more, which might put the fear of God into him a little bit. Speaking of which, here comes both soldiers directly onto Connor. They clean up Silvo. Riot actually gets caught on that far side as well, so now 2 players down for the defending team, not a spot you want to be in if you're defending. Doge coming forward with those sticky. Aisho going down on the point. that's going to be that, I think, for this cap. Connor might not, and his team might not want to use this aggressively here, I don't think.
No, now the Uber situation isn't even really that much in question because they've got the point. It's up to Soiree to push this one, but it does look like Soiree is going to play this, it's typical Soiree style, very aggressively. Connor already took a little bit of chunk of damage there, almost 100, so I mean that's going to be called, and he's down to spam.
Spam?
Oh no!
No. They're throwing themselves at Lau here. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Elmo, the only player left alive, he's thrown himself in. He does go down to the crossing sign. I don't think I've ever seen that in the kill feed before.
No, I don't think I have either.
Jeez Louise. Okay. The timeout is really not massive here. It's only about 30 seconds coming up on. So it's not like a massive issue if you're X-Files here, but they must be feeling the pressure. This Uber ad is something that they need to be really fearful of. They obviously don't look like they want a 4-man. Hurt's taking a bit of attention with the bomb across the point. He's onto that concrete area doing quite a bit of damage to Silver, not enough to really do anything. Doge taking out Enrith though. It looks like it might be a 4-man in the end. They've kept their med building this time. They haven't really achieved much with that 4-man though, so it's going to be even Ubers coming back into this. It's dangerous, hey?
Pretty dangerous situation here because this fight has to be the win, and they have to go right now, actually.
Oh, yeah.
An aggressive Uber here from Soiree might even stop at the same point.
They need to touch that. Oh, they get the drop on the med. They only have to... Oh, they had to get someone onto the point. Their scout did get there, but the Uber was still on him. Boy, oh boy. So 2-1 now.
Yeah, that's X-Files again, sort of put on the back foot, but not a disastrous situation for them. I mean, they went down the first round, they bailed out the second one, and this was definitely a much closer round in the first round they had, so still definitely have the potential to turn things around, even this up at 2-all. Going to depend on how well they do this bit and how well they continue this carry on. Down and Silver already going down, though.
Yeah, Down and Silvo both going down. Silvo got quite a bit of damage on a Connor, which has actually backed the X-Files team out quite a bit. Elmo doesn't seem to know that, though, because he gets right deep into them. Doge follows up with a frag on the Riot after Elmo goes down. Hurt's actually taking that cliff area. He's going to go... Ooh, he does go down before he gets that pack. It's probably going to be a back-out job out of X-Files here. Yeah, it is. So, point gets capped. Looks like Soiree's taken that time, really making things happen. The Uber's coming forward though. Connor does end up using aggressively. Quite a bit of damage on a Lau. No drop though. The flashes are pretty even. Connor gets Skybox though, which is going to put him in a grim position. He does go down. The Lau is still alive, not for long. Down takes him out. It's a very scrappy fight. There's only 3 players left on either side. That health is not fantastic, no matter who you're looking at. TJ going down might spell the end of that fight, I think.
It is looking right for a repush from X-Files, though, because, of course, they don't have the point, which means they've got much better spawns here. Perfect opportunity for them to come and do a quick retake. And that's why you don't want those sort of even fights while you're defending on product, because an even fight where both players on both teams sort of all go down is just a fight one for the offenders.
I love that term, offenders.
Offenders.
Yeah, that one really threw me for 6, mate. We do see Down in behind them. He comes back out now, and they've managed to cap that point, giving them slower spawn, but they do still have a little bit of Uber ad here. Riot getting in there. They clean up Cookie nice and early, which is really good for them. They've kept most of their players alive. Riot's really low on that cliff area, but Hurts ends up being the frag to happen. Not quite enough to clean up Riot. They're playing this really, really defensively on the side of X-Files. I guess once bitten, twice shy, right?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately for them, they really need to sort of use this opportunity to get this really big advantage. They have been successfully sort of fending off players. Aisha was actually doing a really good job at kind of just chipping down players who were heavily damaged, which isn't quite being done on the X-Files side, seeing Riot getting out earlier. But now the frags are coming out for the trades. Trades, of course, are much more favourable for Soiree, and Uber even coming out for X-Files. So that's going to give Soiree a much better Uber as they use in return, and a lot of frags as well.
It's not great for X-Files here. They lost so many players. It's only Down and Elmo alive. Down getting in behind there. He cleans up Cookie, which is pretty good. I don't like his odds of really getting much else though. They're looking for him really hard behind it. He's stuck in that spawn area on single digit health. TJ going down in that forward area. I think he died to a trap there. So it's just going to be a bit of a reset. But with the spawns, they're throwing themselves directly on in. Connor really looking like he likes dying with where he's standing with this many players down.
Yeah, he's getting aggressively, it doesn't really care too much. He already knew, I guess, that Silver went down to single-digit HP after taking out Down, and, they took out Riot at the start of that. So not too big of a risk for Connor to sort of walk out there. And definitely with those respawns now, even Ubers, even players, just a chance for X-Files to sort of pressure this. Times are relatively even as well, so nothing too exciting quite at this moment. Just some good solid gameplay. Ubers coming out from both players, slightly better from the side of Soiree.
Yeah, it is looking a little bit better for the side of Soiree, but their players are all kind of bunched up, whereas the X-Files players are a little bit more spread out. They clean up 2 players, Silvo, Cookie, and Riot, all going down nice and early. Down the only frag to go the other way. Aisho goes down on that concrete area as well. That is really quite dominant, that fight there. 60 seconds left on the clock for Soiree, though. Minute 30 on X-Files. X-Files could have this here. They got a little bit to add to.
They're trying to get this sort of forward hold going down already as well. It's not quite successful push out from Soiree, losing Cookie in that one. Do get Down, however, so, not the worst situation. Get Down hurts and Elmo, so that's going to force X-Files to back off really hard here. Have to protect Connor with their lives, otherwise they lose this. They had that bit of advantage because they used that Uber first. They had, a bit better on the advantage side, but I mean, that just hasn't helped them here with so many players being lost. And now they're back in a situation where they have roughly even Ubers, even players, roughly even time, and they're going to get something done.
Oh, look, you say roughly even time, but I'd say there's a big difference with 20 seconds here, to be honest. The fight is coming through. They lose Doge nice and early, which is going to delay their ability here, but they decide to use straight on in anyway. It's Hertz and TJ. TJ in nice and deep. Hertz taking out Riot as Elmo kills Silvo on the flank there. This is actually looking pretty good for X-Files. They do lose Hertz in the midst of all that. Down, getting a bit of damage to back off the other team. 16 seconds left on the clock for Soiree. It's not a lot to play with here. They finally capped the point. 10 seconds left on the clock for Soiree. A minute on the side of X-Files. They have to hold this for a full minute here, more or less. Because one decent fight, one decent cap, that's it for them.
Exactly. I mean, this is a daunting situation because you have to win 2 in a row. Your enemy only needs to win 1 with 10 seconds left. X-Files can take a little bit of a time to take a deep breath here and manage to win this next push. Certainly looks like they're trying to do this, moving up. They've gotten 2 players down just for Silverdox, and look at those spawn times on X-Files. Over 10 seconds, and Silverdox is already up by himself. Uber has come up from X-Files, really early used though. It's going to give so much of a better Uber time for Soiree.
Oh, dude, Soiree just has all the time in the world here. They're totally happy to just play on the... They've deathballed around their meds so hard as well. Nothing's going to be cleaning him up. The rest of the team on the side of X-Files is coming in. They're all dying one by one, unfortunately. It's not looking fantastic for them. They do clean up Enris, which is going to give them a little bit of an edge here. But they're missing so many players themselves. It's just Hertz and Connor. 2 seconds left on the clock. They lose that fight. Overtime now for X-Files. 8 seconds. 7. Oh, dude. If they can get someone onto the point, no, I don't think they can.
I don't think so.
Doge has to get in. He's on that point. Oh! And that is that. 3 rounds to Soiree there. Holy dooly, bro.
I mean, that was a lot closer than 3-1 implies, actually. I mean, especially because that last one went to overtime on the side of X-Files. So, really good fight they put up.
We were talking, like, right at the start of this about how this was going to be a really even game when you look at these teams. And I tell you, it lived up to our prediction.
We do have the logs now, so we can see just how well these guys did. And wow, that's a pretty even spread on the logs, actually.
Oh yeah, man. The scouts, I mean, it's Viaduct, so the scouts are always going to be having the time of their lives. But boy, oh boy. When you look at these logs, like, they're so even. There's nothing I can really point at as, like, something to really pay attention to in the logs. I mean, both meds, basically the same stats. Except for Connor with 1 more drop there. Honestly, that was just a really good game to watch. I really did think we'd be going to 3 maps though, man.
Yeah, I wanted to see some granary, you know? You don't often get to see granary being played, but...
I was completely prepared for 3 maps, man. So, upper page playoffs, that means now that Soiree goes straight to finals, question mark? Yes, it does. So, Soiree goes direct to finals. I'm not totally clear on how it all works. Got a couple quick things to plug before we wrap up. Naturally, you're watching Critscast, the oldest and best area to really watch anything related to Team Fortress. You can follow us here on Twitch. You can always subscribe as well. That helps out if you do it with Prime even. And, ladies and gentlemen, that's a free sub right there. You don't have to pay a cent. There's also a YouTube channel that you can also follow. That one will get quite a few of these VODs as well, so give that one a quick subscribe. There's a Twitter you can follow. Keep up to date with the social medias. And there's a Discord server where you can chat with fellow like-minded Team Fortress people. Of course, also ways you can support Critscast with your monetary goods. Let me tell you, you can buy some merch, and very, very fat merch it is. And I don't mean that in terms of the bad fat. I mean fat with a PH and a 4, okay? That's good merch right there. And there is a Patreon where you can keep everything running. There's shirts, there's hoodies, there's posters, stickers, mugs, all sorts of things. I think I've shouted out everything. Be sure to tune in for more casts here. We're busy little bees around here, and we look for really any opportunity that we can. And it's been fantastic having you all here. The final shout out is, as always, to the viewers. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Hi, old beaver! Away!